Hi, everybody.
Hey, hey, hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Can't wait to hear this music.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gonna be fun.
turn. Why am I showing up twice? Amy! Hi, Amy.
Oh, Amy, thank you so much for posting this link.
You are so awesome, Amy.
Yes.
We've had a storm here, so I'm on my battery-powered iPad.
Oh my
Oh, Lord.
gosh.
It's one heck of a storm.
Be safe.
Where are you, Amy?
Harlingen, Texas, right on the Gulf, right
Oh.
on the border.
I'm from Texas, originally.
All right.
Amarillo.
Oh,
I haven't been back here since I was 12, just a few years ago.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey. Who's that cute baby?
There's baby Levian.
I love this.
Debbie Ann.
Oh,
Aw.
cute. That's good.
Look, somebody has the same ceiling as me. Who is that? Oh, there you are.
Me. I know.
Look at that. Looks like we're in the same house.
No, we're living in the same place.
See, I have it too. Wait. See that?
That's great. I love it.
Wait, there we go. Now you can see my ceiling.
Oh, you have the same ceiling too.
You
This
do
is
too.
crazy.
Wow. Amazing. I don't know why I'm
Good
showing
morning
it
from
today.
Australia.
Who's from Australia? Where?
I am. Hey, Destiny.
Oh, hey.
Catchy 22s.
Yeah.
Is that Ron?
What time is it? What time is it in Australia right now?
7 a.m.
Wow.
Oh, good
I
morning. Good morning.
I didn't get up at 5 a.m. for the other one. I'm going to catch that later.
And remember, it's 7 a.m.
Blame you.
tomorrow.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's
Yes,
tomorrow
Thursday.
there.
Wait, Lance.
I'm in the future.
Here.
You are time traveling.
I uploaded Lance and I just finished like 5 seconds ago a song, and I got it submitted. Lance, so we'll see if they choose.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's great.
Hi everyone, I'm in New Zealand.
Oh,
wow.
hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
So is tomorrow any better than today?
Yeah, it's beautiful and sunny coming in my office window.
Yay.
Oh, how
It's 9
lovely.
o'clock in the morning.
Oh, 9 o'clock in New Zealand.
It's 2
That
o'clock.
sounds like
in Toronto.
that sounds like a song idea. Is tomorrow any better than today?
Yeah.
Put that down.
I like it.
That's good.
Does.
I sure hope that tomorrow's better than today. I'm just,
We've been muted. We've been muted.
we're gonna get this call started, and I just got a front end by this by I am feeling like crap, but I am so happy to be here and hear all of your music. And the whole goal with this is we're gonna listen to as much music as we can, and so I can give feedback. And yeah, we got a pretty long list of songs, which is great. Everybody's like, this is awesome. We're definitely not going to get through all this today, which is okay because we're just going to go on a rolling basis. We'll just keep going through the songs but I got like a ton of links. Looks like everybody was good. They sent a streaming link and everything. I'm excited. So Adrian, we're not pulling anything, just so note from anybody, we're not going to pull any of the songs from chat this week. And moving forward, we posted in the group a link to the place where you can submit your music to be heard. So if you're having a hard time finding it, maybe it's under announcements. You could look under announcements. And if you still can't find it, I'll do our best to point you in the right direction.
If you search for Delana, you can find it in one of her posts.
There we go. Yeah, just search for Delana. It should be one of the first to pop up with her. Yeah. And I could probably also change that so that it's a announcement too. It's probably pretty easy for me to do, but excuse me. All right, here we go. Without further ado, so just one thing to note when doing this, some of the low end information, because this is being streamed, is going to be lost. And that's just like, you know, I always take that into account when I'm listening to stuff. All right, so first off, without further ado, Patrice Paris is going to be first. She provided a song link here, YouTube link. All right, and I'm going to get this all ready to share. Here we go. Awesome. All right. Here we go.
Expressing the emotion, holding it all in, unveiling the secret is bound to pull me in. But if loving you is evil, then I will love the sin. If loving you's a gateway to hell, then dying to get in. Come take me home. Come take me home. Wear the scarlet letter, I wear it every day. It's shame and it's prize, and that's the price I'll pay. Cause if loving you is evil, then I will love the sin. If loving you's a gateway to hell, then dying to get in. Come take me home. Come take me home. Come take me home. Let you go.
Wow. So I just want to say, like, I dig the intro. The piano has a really nice timbre to it. I like the kind of mellowness of the chords. It gives a nice bed. I really feel like the vocal arrangements, there's some cool vocal arrangement stuff that's going on in here. The vocal is very powerful and strong. It's very intense. Powerful voice. And yeah, I think those were, as far as like thematically too, I feel like it was on target for talking about like potentially about home. I think, you know, the things that I was hearing when I hear a song like this, one of the first things that kind of stuck out to me was was kind of the top line in general. I feel like was a little busy, on the busy side. In terms of like there was always something going on, especially in the verses. It felt almost to the point where there wasn't really a breath for like the listener to kind of take it in. I preach about this all the time, that it's good to not like the silence is just as important as as what's being sung and like the top line melody and things like that. So for a song like this, I think the thing that stuck out for me in terms of like something that maybe didn't really work for me was just how busy the top line was. It felt like the singer was sometimes a little out of breath delivering some of the lines, and but I think it's got like a powerful message. It's got a very powerful vocal. I think production wise, I just think it'd just be a matter of like with a song like this, we'd probably need a little bit of tuning and tweaking to kind of get it into like the ballpark of a reference that you could definitely take a song like this and redo it in a style that's like perhaps a little bit more modern. just something that's like a little more like what they're using right now. But so yeah, the production, I felt like but the quality of the production sounded good. Yeah, there's a lot I liked about it. There's a few things that I felt like could be stronger, but nice work. Yeah, love it. So we're gonna. So what I want to do is just like try to listen to as many songs as I can. So sometimes I would like have a conversation with the person about the song, but I think I'd like to just like experiment and see how it goes if we just listen to a bunch of stuff, because I think we'll get through more stuff this way. Apologize. This is gonna happen sometimes. Just can't. My lungs are not very happy right now. All right, Chris Buxton is next. We got We're Excited is the name of the track, and we're gonna give it a spin here. Oh. All right, here we go.
I'm up late at night, dancing on my own. Cools down, feeling right, got my headphones on. Essence of the one, come flow through me. Ain't no place in this whole world I'd rather be. We're just warming up for the hands hit by the fire. We're always round you, come on and catch our vibe. We're just loving what you're digging all this time. You will know that you're gon' get it right. We're excited that you're ignited. Yeah, we love it when you're vibing. We're excited, delighted. Yeah, we love it when you're vibing. Ooh, my. We're excited, you're ignited. Yeah, we love it when you're vibing. We're excited, delighted. Yeah, we love it when you're vibing. We're excited, yeah, we love it. You're not alone, there's always been this space. Oh my, I'm up late at night, I'm up late at night, dancing on my own. Cools down, feeling right, got my headphones on. Essence of the one, come flow through me. Ain't no place in this whole world I'd rather be. We're just warming up for the hands hit by the fire. We're always round you, come on and catch our vibe. We're just loving what you're digging all this time. You will know that.
Yeah, cool. So I loved like the instant kind of Bruno Mars fun vibe that I got like right off the bat. I love some of the vocal arrangements are cool, and I just think like some of the arrangements in general are good. Just the choice of the different instruments and everything. I really I feel like maybe the singer's not right for this type of track. That maybe you'd bring in somebody who's a little got a little bit more of that Bruno Mars kind of vibe. That was what kind of immediately leapt out to me. Might be cool to look for some folks who can. I just feel like it just for whatever reason it just wasn't really vibing that way for me. As far as the lyrics are super specific here. With the verse, they're very specific in like a bedroom and or whatever, and putting headphones on and dancing by the fire. It kind of limits like its application. It's also like the Bruno Mars stuff is a little more like kind of party cool kind of vibe, and I feel like there's a little bit of a it's in the ballpark, but it's kind of not in terms of like the kinds of lyric content of those songs. Yeah, just something worth thinking about for a song like this. I really love the playfulness of the arrangement. I love. I'm curious, like, what of that is. I imagine most of it's sample stuff. Be cool to maybe add some like real strings and stuff like that to that, and some real horns. You know, but as far as like the basic arrangement of it, I think the arrangement's cool. And I feel like the music, like as far as like the arrangement of the music, it feels like it fits in a genre. It feels like it's well done. Maybe production wise, you'd want to like up the ante a little bit on some of the stuff. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I think there's a lot going with it. You might want to play around with like getting a different singer on it, and maybe try tweaking some of the verse lyrics in particular. Yeah, just felt very specific to me, and not really like what you would typically hear like a singer like Bruno Mars singing about. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. I think a lot of good work done there though. Let's keep going down the list. Next up, we got Ron Irizarry. And Ron's sharing with us a song called So High. Here we go. All right. Oh, wait, that's my entire. That was the wrong. I didn't mean to share my entire desktop. This is what I was trying to share. Here we go. There we go. All right, we got it right now.
You make me live, you make me laugh, you make me scream, you make me cry, you make me dance, you make me smile, you make me free, you make me fly so high. You got me so high, you got me so high over you. I didn't know love before I met you. I didn't know how I had to get you. Contrive a way to make you mine. The way that you move intoxicates me. The way that you smile penetrates me. I gotta think fast. I got you on my sides. I can waste no time. You make me laugh, you make me scream, you make me cry, you make me dance, you make me smile, you make me free, you make me fly so high. You got me so high, you got me so high over you. So caught your eye as you looked over. So high, you got me so high, you got me so high over you. So high, so high. Make me cry, you got me so high. You make me cry, you make me dance. The way that you smile penetrates me. I gotta think fast. I got you.
All right, so yeah, I got a lot of things to say about this. I feel like there's a lot to like about the production on this song, especially like the tightly strummed acoustics that are hard panned. It's like it's tough to do that stuff and have it sound good. Like I feel it was a nice job of that with a lot of the production elements. I think the vocal sounds good. I think that I love the simplicity of the chorus and the chorus lyrics. It gives plenty, like I was talking about earlier, where it was maybe too much. This feels like it's got kind of like the right vocal pocket and the right kind of, you kind of want to like, when you're mixing, when you're doing like vocals to a track, it's like you want to blend in just a little bit, but you don't want too much. It's like, you know, it's like the difference between putting in like, you know, 1 teaspoon of sugar, if that's what you like, and putting in like three teaspoons of sugar. So it's like, I feel like it's a good blend there. I feel like one thing this track could use is a little more dynamics. I feel like it kind of goes more or less one speed the whole way through, even though it does kind of slow down a little bit. Or like some of the layers of production get stripped away at a couple of points. I feel like for the most part, it kind of goes one speed, and I'd be curious what it would sound like if it really intentionally built up a little bit more. What people really like to hear is like, it's just tension and release. They like being like taken from somewhere, and they like being taken up, and then they like being taken back down again, and then so on and so forth. They like the ride, and then they like being dropped back down. It's part of the formula of what it's a formula, but in a way it satisfies. It's a reason why like Hollywood movies tend to have the same kind of arcs. It's the same reason that most music seems to have the same kind of like tension and release thing, because it's like, it's what people want. All about the drop. Yeah, actually, this is funny. People mentioned the NXS. This actually reminded me of there was a band called Live that one album of theirs in particular. I can't remember what the name of the album was, but there was a couple tracks on one of their newer albums that this reminded me of. I used to be a huge fan of theirs, like back when I was a teenager. But yeah, Throwing Copper was probably one of my favorite albums of all time, probably top 10 now. But yeah, the vocalist kind of reminded me of him, and the music kind of reminded me of him too. Just in terms of like, or just that band. Yeah, they were really cool. And, but the thing is, like, I think too, with a song like this, it's like, how can you modernize the production just a little bit? It felt perhaps a little dated in terms of that I'm making that connection, but not to say you couldn't do a song like this. Everything's cyclical, by the way. And I'm sure while we haven't had the 90s really roar back, we haven't had like the grunge thing really roar back, like the way that the 80s seemed to keep just always being relevant. There's always going to be room for flavors of different decades in new music. It's just, you got to find like a modern angle to it, and find some way to take the style and merge it with what's kind of working for licensing. I feel like that's the trick with, and that is probably feedback that I would give on like almost every song that we listen to today, is like, you know, what's the modern spin on it? But I'm not always going to voice that, but you always got to be thinking that, what's the modern spin on the production? If I don't say like, I feel like this production is super modern, it's super relevant, I could see this being in a TV show already or something like that. That's a piece of feedback that I'd encourage you to just keep it in mind. And that's like part of the process that we're all like getting the target in our sights, and then figuring out from our own perspectives how best to approach it, how best to approach the marketing angle. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I like the song. Song's cool. I like the simplicity of the message and everything. With the chorus, especially, and the vocal stuff is probably my favorite part. Just the way it breathes. So I don't usually take that much. I don't want to take that long to talk about every song, because I want to try to get through as many of these as I can. Christian Ravello, you're next. So let's get this on screen share. Here we go. This song is called Coming Home.
Gone to every ocean, swum in every stream, gone through river rapids and down the waterfall. I turned at every corner, made it through the dust. The desert's far and wide down to the valley. Somehow I know that I'm coming home to you. Somehow I know I'm coming home. Somehow I know that I'm coming home to you. Somehow I know I'm coming home. Can't wait to be coming home. Can't wait to be coming home. Coming home. Can't wait to be coming home. Oh, I miss my family. through the dust.
Hey, so yeah, I really there were some things I really liked about this too. I was gonna say the things I really liked were I liked the sparse, pretty acoustic guitar, sounded nice. I also liked when I was talking about dynamics earlier. I like, even though it was a little borderline jarring for me, I liked the gear shift that it did when it kind of shifted into that reggae thing. It was kind of cool. It's like that's a dynamic change, maybe in like to almost to an extreme. I mean, it doesn't sound like extreme for like a trailer kind of song or something like that. But when we're talking about dynamics, those are the kinds we want, things that kind of change in a song and take people sometimes for like an expected thing, sometimes for an unexpected thing. And I feel like I think that's really cool, the way that it went for that. I also, I guess as far as like things, the quality of the production, I think there's some issues on the quality of the production there overall. It doesn't quite sound like it's up to the bar, just kind of overall. And then I think as far as like the vocal, one thing I heard in the top line that was kind of interesting was, and this is something I didn't realize I was doing in my songs until I had it pointed out to me, is that the chorus is kind of at a lower interval than even the verses. Meaning that like when we're talking about dynamics and wanting everything to kind of like go into like a tension and release type of thing, not every song is going to be like this, but I think more often than not, successful songs tend to do what's called stepping up with the intervals. So if your verse starts out, what I was doing, like, for example, for me, like the mistake that I was making is a mistake. It's like, you know, like I said, not every song needs to have this, but I think like as a pattern, what I was doing consistently was I was hitting people like right off the bat with something that was kind of in my peak vocal performance level in terms of like the register and the octave that I was in. And then it gave me nowhere to go up from. Which people like being lifted up into a chorus, and part of that lifting up in addition to the production is like the vocal top line. So when you go from like something that's up here down, what can happen is it's almost like kind of like a letdown in a little way, versus like it could be like a lift, an opportunity to lift up into it. So I could see how you could rearrange this vocal potentially so that when by the time that reggae kind of thing kicks in, you're coming up and I'm coming home. It's like a little higher up. It's like more energy. You know, that's all I was thinking when I was listening to it from that perspective. I think it might be cool to like just keep that in mind, because I know for a long time I was totally not keeping any of that in mind, and I think it made decisions, writing decisions for me, particularly with the vocal top line. I was making decisions that weren't effective just from that perspective. They weren't really building with the instrumental track. As your instrumental track builds up, maybe something worth taking a listen to and thinking about. As I wanted to say, like any piece of feedback I give is just my opinion. So take what you want and throw out the rest. And yeah, but I'm happy to. These are just my opinions on this stuff. Hope you'll find it helpful. Here we go. Next up. All right. Next up, we got Nick Welch. Unfortunately, the link you provided does not go somewhere. So we're going to go next person on the list. So Nick, just go ahead and resubmit your song, and we'll get to you next time. All right. Spotify. All right. So we got Michelle Rivers is next. Let me just go ahead and restart that. I'll share the screen. Here we go. Sweet. This one's called Masterpiece.
Life's lyrics sung with chilling emotion, exposing all the inner commotion. That song that captures that old feeling, that feeling you feel you felt before, that line that leaves you wanting more. Oh, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait for it, for that word, that sound, that perfect fit. Masterpiece, just listen, feel the release, ammunition. You don't even know what happened. It's so hard to cry till you're laughing. Who's to diagnose the human condition? A doctor or a skilled musician? Oh, maybe they are very much the same. This healing euphonious art, it's pounding. You don't even know what happened. It's so hard to cry till you're laughing. Bum 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 bum. It's pounding.
Cool. Well, I just came from Arizona, where we were at my mom's funeral, where we were talking about bluegrass festivals. A bunch of my mom's friends were really into bluegrass music. I grew up around bluegrass music. I love this kind of folky, bluegrassy kind of stuff. The instrumental track on this is great. I feel like it sounds good, well recorded. I feel like the vocal sounds good as well. And maybe it's definitely in that bluegrass, super clean kind of recording style, not too much reverb. I feel like there were a few things, the bump, there were some plosives that sounded like maybe they weren't tamed from a production perspective. I guess the thing that I think about with a song that's like as complex as this is like just finding the right. I think it's just a matter of just finding the right scene for something like this, and the right. I feel like bluegrass music, there's probably not a ton of, I don't see a lot of calls for bluegrass music in the briefs that we get. I feel like this is well recorded bluegrass music. And I like it. I just, I guess the thing is like, it's like finding like I was saying before, it's a matter of finding like it is Americana. I would say it's definitely on the bluegrassy side of it. Yeah. But just there's so many different flavors of Americana that you could like modern Americana that gets used for stuff. It's just a matter of like finding, what the direction is for you. With some, do I feel like stuff like this, that there's like immediately like a place where, for example, like Catch the Moon could pitch this, maybe not, but, not to say that they don't sometimes look for bluegrass music, folky kind of bluegrassy kind of stuff. I'm not sure that this would really fall under country music in my kind of understanding of country music. It feels like more like Americana. Yeah. I mean, for sure there's, yeah. So, that's what I would suggest is just like diving into, what is getting used in the Americana folky Americana world and just keep looking. But I feel like there's a lot that's going on that's really great about this recording. I feel like it's a cool song. Yeah, it's well recorded, and I think you should be proud of it. I'm sure you are. Nice job. Next up, we got Linda Dobbin Turner. This song is called Strong. And by the way, props to everyone who's using disco. It's pretty cool.
We follow our own paths in life, unconscious where they lead. Unaware and unafraid, we're focused just on what we need. And that world outside, it flows on by, and we just kind of float along until the world we know is shattered, and they tell us we must be strong. We must be strong. Ah, but you don't know what strong is till strong's your only choice. And you don't know what you're made of until you find your voice. So you keep giving love, you keep living life when no one else believes you can. And only those who walk this road are gonna understand that when everything you thought you knew is gone, that's when you find strong. That's when you find strong. Of strong. This road are gonna understand that when everything you thought you knew is gone, that's when you find strong. So you dive into the emptiness, and you don't know what you find strong. That's when you'll know strong.
Yeah, so this is I really love the lyrics in this song. I feel like it's a great message, and the way the lyrics are written, it's not necessarily like I feel like it's what I'm trying to say is I feel like it makes sense, and it satisfies me in terms of like the concepts of the lyrics, and I just feel like the turns, the lyrical turns that happen in this are interesting. And yeah, I think that the actual top line itself is really interesting too, the way in which it develops, but it kind of is cyclical in a way. I think I can imagine this with an acoustic guitar. Absolutely. You could, for a song that's good, I feel like, a song like this feels like it's pretty well written. From a top lining perspective, I feel like you could definitely reskin a song like this in a few different ways. Also, a top line, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's which is by the way totally cool. Top line means the vocal melody plus the lyrics together is a top line. So so when I'm talking about the top line, I'm talking about the lyrics as well as the kind of the vocal melody. Which I like both of it in this song. As far as I like some of the arrangement stuff too is kind of cool. The kind of stuff that's going on in the background. I feel like the production overall is not really in the ballpark that it needs to be. Just kind of like overall, this feels like more like a demo to me than like a full on production. And then I feel like as far as the vocal delivery, the performance itself, I feel like here's one thing that can make a vocal sound dated probably faster than anything is like a lot of vibrato in the delivery of the vocal. And there's just a ton of vibrato in the way this is being sung. It just kind of immediately sticks out to me. So yeah, as far as like, I feel like the song is good. I feel like you could definitely take this in different directions, different singers, different, ways of like production. You could play around with the instrumentation. I feel like it's just finding a marketable direction with it is the key here, because I feel like the song is good. I obviously didn't get a chance to listen to the entire song from beginning to end, but I really liked the main concepts, and the lyrical turns were all really cool. The ones around like being strong and just strong as a concept, I thought was great. So nice job there. And on to the next one. Next up, we got John Cimino. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I hope. This next song is called A Good Day.
Round and round the world is turning. Echoes of the night are fading. With the sun like a lemon drop, the wind whispers lovely thoughts to me. And I think it's gonna be a good day. And I think it's gonna be a good day. Yes, I think it's gonna be a good day. Lie beneath the branches with me. Dream of days with new beginnings. Sunshine has found us here, so hope rises, storm clouds disappear. And I think it's gonna be a good day. And I think it's gonna be a good day. Yes, I think it's gonna be a good day. A good day. Shadows far behind me. And I think it's gonna be a good day. Yes, I think it's gonna be a good day. Yes, I think it's gonna.
Yeah, so I don't usually play as much of a song that that we do in these sessions, but I wanted to play through a lot of that because I feel like this song is really like out of the things I've heard today, I instantly hear the quality of the production, and I love the lyrics. I think that this song is really I feel like it's well recorded. I feel like it's got like it has like almost an indie kind of artist vibe that you can pick up on. Certainly like this is something like from like a folky kind of singer-songwriter. We're talking about like modern Americana. This is kind of in the ballpark of what you want to be hearing in terms of some of that. It's just one flavor of many that are out there. I just want to say, like, tip my hat. Nice job. I feel like a song like this could get licensed. You know, I feel like there's some things, like, as a producer, everybody's going to have, like, their own kind of spin on things. I feel like with a song like this, I would have loved to hear some more, like, the ear candy a little earlier on, especially with, like, vocals. I would have loved to gotten some, like, vocal ear candy a little earlier on in the song. But, you know, also, you could also play around with dynamics a little bit more. Once again, I feel like as a whole, it kind of goes one speed. Maybe there's an opportunity to really kind of strip back in moments, or like expose like a certain vocal. With songs like this, I'm always looking for some kind of cool creative way to like expose like a single word or meaning. What we're trying to do when we're creating music, I can only speak from my own perspective as a writer and as producers. We're trying to create moments. So there's so many like cool moments in this song, and then also like potential moments that could be elevated by like either just full track stop with just the focus on like a specific vocal, or like some little flourish that gets its own time to shine, some type of instrumental thing. Yeah, I think it's like, but these are just like, you know, my thoughts. If you wanted to continue to explore on this one, I think it's it looks like it was released in 2018, so you're probably not still tweaking it, but yeah, I think this, out of all the stuff that I've heard so far today, this one is like the closest thing I've heard today to being ready to pitch and license. So, you know, nice job. It's a cool song, and look forward to hearing more from you as well as from everybody else. So, yeah, nice job. Next up, Real Williams. Here we go. Reverb Nation. Let's go ahead and, okay, it looks like it's this one. Here we go. We're going to go ahead now and we're going to get real here.
For all the things I didn't do in my life, even though God knows how I've tried. Sorry isn't good enough for all the words I'm thinking of. Sorry is the only word I find. I'm sorry for the things I've let slip by. Yes, I know you heard this all before. I'm sorry for the things I've left behind me. I'm asking, dog, that you forgive us all. Sorry isn't good enough. I'm sorry, dog, enough for all the words I'm thinking of. Sorry is the only word I find.
All right, cool. So, I mean, as soon as I pressed play, I heard kind of the classic washy, like washy kind of classic rock kind of vibe of the whole thing. So from a targeting perspective, it's good that you can kind of put it in a bucket right away. I guess the one thing I would think about with that is how often is original period kind of classic rock music used in placements. I would argue probably not that often, because the reason being is that if it's a period thing, they typically want music that's from that actual period. Occasionally they will look for music that's like original stuff, but I don't really see a ton of that from like what I see the briefs that come in. Usually when they're looking for something that's like kind of to like a period of music, it's usually like they're looking for stuff from that era. It's really hard to replicate the exact sound of it. Yeah, of course. They did. But Stranger Things, I see that in the chat. Stranger Things definitely took like an 80s sound. They created an entire thing for their own. If you're talking about the theme song and like music that's relating to the scoring of it, it's very, very, very 80s inspired. But the 80s as a decade, it never seems to go away. So, but that's like 80s influence. It's not like actual music that's from the 80s, that like original stuff. Yeah, 80s was not, Stranger Things was not classic rock. And yeah, totally like, could I see a song that was produced in kind of a period style like this in like a bar scene as like background music on a jukebox or something like that, like source material kind of music? For sure. But usually for shows where it's important to have like it be authentic period, they usually want stuff that's from that era. So that was the first thing I wanted to address. I really actually liked the personality of the vocal. Just the attitude of the vocal was interesting to me. I liked it. There's good like personality to it. I feel like as overall the production needed help. I feel like it's not quite, once again, like it just doesn't sound like it's professionally recorded. It's not at the level that I would expect a song that's like from even from that era to kind of sound like in terms of like the quality of the production and the mix, and the way it's mastered. Once again, vibrato with this vocal, it kind of dates it. It's just, it's like something that sticks out kind of immediately to me when I hear it. So yeah, you know, I think the challenge with something like this is finding, once again, it's finding like if you can't find a marketable angle with this particular kind of music, what's a well-used, frequently used type of music that you can dig into, because I think it's going to be an uphill climb with like finding an angle with the classic rock angle. Just my personal opinion on it. There's certainly a lot of like indie rock bands that borrow from that period. So maybe that's worth looking into, is like what kind of indie rock music that gets used, what I might maybe enjoy like digging into and trying to write in. But I think it's like finding a marketable direction is definitely like going to be a good thing to do, just based off of like hearing this as something that like purely in consideration of like sync, which is what we're all here for. Yeah. Not to say there aren't people that enjoy this kind of music. I love classic rock music. So, but as far as like specific to licensing, we definitely can't create inside a vacuum. Sorry, my throat's really, oh God. Give me just a sec here. All right. Gonna get through this. We got like at least another, we got like 40 minutes here. So we're getting through a ton of songs. Hopefully y'all are learning some stuff from this and enjoying this. Thanks, Justina. I'm just trying to do my best to hang in here. All right. So next up, we got Michael Rafferty. Oh, cool. Oh, excuse me. Oh yeah, I know. I could type my comments. I'm all right though. It's not going to be that much longer. And then I'm planning to pretty much just stay in bed the rest of the day. So, and I don't have any other calls scheduled this week that I'm aware of. So, but we'll see. Go back to my regiment of like, I have like all my stuff is like dialed in. I've got like my grapefruit seed extract. I've got my oil of oregano. I've got my blackberry, what is it, like a blackberry extract. I've got, what's the other one? Nettle seed oil or something like that. I've got like ginger and lemon tea and that oil of oregano stuff for anybody who whoever gets a cold. It's really powerful stuff. You put a few drops of that on your tongue and just like natural antiseptic. If you got a sore throat, it's awful, but it feels good. Because you know it's doing something. All right, I'm done talking about my current condition, and let's dig into some more music here. So next up, we got Michael Rafferty. Song's called "The Clock." Oh, and I'm gonna just go back in here and mute everybody again. Just please, if you will, just be careful not to unmute yourself, because everybody can hear it when you're unmuted. All right, here we go. This is "The Clock." The clock is on the clock. Here we go. Oh. Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to postpone because I don't have an Amazon Music account. And this is why, so for the future, every single thing that gets submitted, it needs to be a streamable link that we don't have to have like a specific service for. But we will get to hopefully get to this at some point in the future. So next up is Miss Rudy D, aka Jen Dibble. Here we go. And the song is called Cheese.
2, 3, 4.
All right, so let's get the screen sharing back. Yeah, YouTube's fine. Anything, Dropbox is fine. As long as it's like easily streamable, it's great. We just can't, if it's like a broken link, or if it obviously, or if it's like a, what do you call it? My brain today. Sorry, the like some type of streaming service that I don't have, and I can't use it. Not everybody has Amazon Music. Spotify works for me, by the way. Spotify's fine. I just don't have Apple or Amazon Music. Here we go. But it's best also to assume that you can kind of treat this as if you were like submitting to a music supervisor. You can't assume that a music supervisor has any music service. You can't even assume they have a Spotify account. Most music supervisors don't get their music by Spotify anyways. A good one is Disco, and we just got a deal for all the Catch the Moon students. If you didn't catch that yet, it's like 30% off for like a year-long membership. And it's great. It's what we use at Catch the Moon. It's what many agencies use. It's just kind of industry standard at this point for sharing songs and making sure that you can stream them and download them easy and create custom playlists and stuff like that. Yeah, so the code was shared in the Facebook group, and we can definitely point you in the direction if you can't find it. You could literally just type Disco in the page search, and I'm pretty sure it would come up if it's not in the announcements. All right. And there's so many people in the group that will help you find stuff too. We're also going to be adding, by the way, we're adding a bunch of, we're bringing on some people to help just even more with like helping everybody find things. So be on the lookout for that in the next like few days. We're onboarding them right now, and we're very excited to be able to just like support you even more with just things like this, like finding a link to something. Here we go. So back to listening. This is Miss Rudy D Cheese.
2, 3, 4. Bitches, but I like cheese, mozzarella, cheddar, blue and brie. My ass may be big, I can't see my knees, but I don't give a shit. I love cheese. Stare in the mirror all night long. Love your figure, nothing's wrong. Size 16. Skinny bitches, but I like cheese. I never give it up, I never aim to please. My ass may be big, I can fit into my jeans, but I don't give a shit. I love cheese. Stare in the mirror all night long. Love you how to cook.
Cool. So, yeah, obviously it's got kind of a B-52s kind of vibe to it. At least from what I hear, it's fun. It's funny. It's like a joke song. Yeah, I mean, actually, this is like one of my favorite lines of maybe the years. I don't give a shit. I like cheese. It was pretty great. It made me chuckle for sure. Very funny. Yeah, the voice definitely has like a Natalie Merchant type of quality to it, but it's not quite the context I'm used to hearing her voice in. It's pretty interesting. It's like kind of the opposite of what I would expect to hear with a voice like hers. Yeah, it's fun. I think it's cool. It made me smile. I feel like the intro is really long, just in terms of like getting somebody's attention. By the way, I'm just talking about these songs as if I was like a music supervisor and just like, you know, kind of what I would want like everybody in this class to know about, like just with songs that they're submitting for consideration for stuff. So yeah, I know that's why you're all here, but I just like to like, cause it's like, sometimes it can get confused about like, you know, oh, but this, it helps to know that is where I'm coming from with all this. I'll just say that. So I feel like the intro's pretty long for just any song. Just one thing to keep in mind, we want to keep our intro lengths very short. If you can just kind of axe the intro altogether, it's always something worth considering and just jumping straight into the story. production quality, I feel like overall on this is not really up at the bar. From mainly, it seems like there's like some stuff with the instrumental track, but also just with the mix in particular, that sounds a little like it's falling short. Just of like the general what I'm used to hearing as like a professional who works with tracks every single day. Specific lyrics, obviously, like with a song like this, the uses are, it's just so specific that it would have to be, we're looking for a song that's about cheese and not caring, and it would just have to be a very specific thing that they're looking for a song like this to be considered for a placement. And also the other thing that's worth noting about a song like this is there's a ton of explicit lyrics in it. I swear like a sailor sometimes, so it's not a big deal to me. It doesn't offend me. But one thing to keep in mind is that there's very few opportunities. It even like more narrows your opportunities when you have as many explicit lyrics as there are in the song. So I think, like, you know, it's just as with anything, it's like, where do you see your songs getting placed? And if so, you know, it's like you got to kind of like from here on out, like kind of write accordingly, and make some decisions as to like what you want to target. But as far as like a joke song, I think it's funny. You know, I chuckled a couple times, and yeah, there's some things I liked about it. And I think we all learned a few things here too, just from talking about just some of the stuff it does well, and some of the things that, you know, as far as like a song that you would try to submit to a music supervisor, like what you might want to tighten up. So yeah. Who moved by cheese? I love all the cheese jokes that I'm seeing in here. I'm a big fan of cheese, by the way. I love cheese. All right, so next up, who is up next? We got Lois May. Got another Spotify link here. I'm not sure. It didn't play. I think this might be for the album. So I'm probably just going to play the first song on the album. All right, Lois, here we go. We're going to share. Where's the page? There we go. We're going to share. Here we go. Lois May. Nope. Listen to cheese again, as much as we love it. So I feel like the production quality on this seems pretty good. I love the auto-tune vocal scatting is great. I love jazzy stuff. I'm a huge fan of like 30s, 40s jazz music. It's like some of my favorite kind of music. I love modern jazz too. But yeah, I feel like the production quality on this is high, and just the fidelity of the audio. I hope everybody's listening to, like, you know, versus like some of the other tracks we played today. It's like you kind of hear like a pretty substantial difference just in the fidelity of the audio. and just the quality, like the loudness, but not just the loudness, it's also like the clarity of the instruments. Some of the songs are definitely popping through better than others, and we want to be, unless we're in like a genre where it's like, you know, thrash metal or punk or something like that, where it sounds a little grittier and everything like that, and the expectation is not quite that, like, needs to be like that, like you're almost there. You want to almost, in almost every genre, you want to feel like you're there, and I felt like I was there when I was listening to this song. I feel like I feel like for jazz music, there are definitely times where they're looking for modern jazz music. But I feel that it's definitely on like the modern jazz, like super cool modern jazz, stuff that's like maybe even like blending a little more towards the soul side, type singers. Yeah, I think as far as like thematically, yeah, sure. I mean, I think that there is potentially a place to market jazz music. I see it in briefs. Sometimes they're looking for period jazz, but sometimes they're also just looking for modern jazz music. So, you know, I feel like this is well recorded. I feel like once again I know that like in the jazz genre, like vibrato is certainly like a technique, but I think it's like I mean, it's technique in every genre, but I feel like once again, the thing that can kind of separate like a cool vocal from like one that sounds a little more dated can be like the use of like heavy vibrato. So yeah, that's just something worth thinking about. I think as you might want to investigate TV shows that use jazz music as part of their background music, or just like, yeah, they use that type of music. I think TV shows would be probably the place that you would potentially find the most success with jazz, modern jazz music. I don't know any shows off the top of my head where they're constantly asking for that, but I know from just like the briefs that I've seen that they do look for modern jazz music sometimes. And I feel like it's well recorded. You know, as far as I didn't get a chance to really listen closely to the lyrics. It's hard when you only have like a certain amount of time to listen to everything. You can't really register everything, but I really enjoyed in particular that auto-tune kind of sound, and like scatting was pretty interesting. Yeah, some movies potentially could be an opportunity too. Yeah, well, and here's the thing it's worth considering, if it's really, really hard to find the type of music that you make being used in TV shows, it might be worth considering finding some other, you know, maybe not straight up jazz music. Maybe there's some way. I mean, for example, thinking about that Marion Hill song, that are you down? Are you down? Are you down? Are you down? Like, for example, like that one, she's got like it's a very jazzy kind of feel to the especially the beginning of the song. But there's like some scatty kind of things to that. Yep, Marion Hill. That song's great. And for anybody who's like a jazzy kind of person, I always like tell them about that song and show them it, because it's like, and I'm sure there's like other artists that do similar things, but that music is definitely highly relevant, not only to like just the artist scene, but also, you know, it's just cool music. Like there's different ways that you can take jazz and kind of blend it with different styles to get something that is potentially more marketable to more things. So just worth thinking about, you know, as far as like your direction that you choose to take. But I like, excuse me, I'm a frog in my throat. It's been like this all day. I feel like that's the question that everybody gets to kind of take a look at, and you know, we're constantly doing that. I'm doing that all the time. I'm like, how can I make this more relevant? The song that I've written or this thing that I'm about to work on. It's just like, you know, it's you got to think about it. Can't work out of a vacuum with this stuff. All right. Whew. All right. So we got about 20 more minutes, and then I think I'm maybe 25 more minutes, and I'm just like toast. I'm trying to hang in there, everybody. I'm sorry I feel like this right now. And I don't mean to like say that to like elicit pity. That's not what I'm intending at all. It's like literally the truth. All right, so this next one we got is hold on a sec. All right. Looks like this one's targeted to a specific track. In the future, if you do send a Spotify link, make sure you send a Spotify link to the song that you are that you want to have played. Otherwise, I'm just going to play the first song that's on the album if you send me a link to an album. All right, so let's get this queued up. Here we go. All right. Destiny Love, Blue Sky.
The sky breaks through. It's blue under gray cloud. Blue under the gray cloud. The sky breaks through. And so do you. You are blue under that gray cloud. Blue under that gray cloud. You're breaking through. Yes, you will. It is true. If you believe it, you can surely do it. 'Cause you're blue under the gray cloud. So blue under the gray cloud. Blue under the gray cloud. You're breaking through. Here's the sun. You are one with the sun, and you can break through the clouds if you want to. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Oh, the sky breaks through. It's so blue under the gray cloud. Blue under the gray cloud. The sky breaks through. Sun, and you can break through the clouds if you want to. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo-doo, doodly-doo, doodly-doo. The sky breaks through. It's blue under the gray cloud. Blue.
Nice. I love the singer. I love the timbre of her voice. The vocal's very, very prominent on the track. Maybe even a little hot. Just in terms of like in relation to everything else in the mix. But I do like the focus on the vocal. It's definitely like the standout element to me in the track. I like the way that the track does build. It goes from something that's very simple to just it adds complexity over time. And we've got it's definitely got like a folky Americana kind of vibe to it. That, you know, I feel like there's there's definitely like a modernization that you can do with this type of sound. Like I've said with a couple other tracks where it's like folky kind of Americana. It's like finding the angle, the modern touches that can kind of give it a little more direction that could be usable, I feel like. I do like also the pacing with the top line on this, in terms of like at least especially in the beginning, where it feels like there's enough room for the track to breathe. There's a relationship between the vocal and the instrumental versus just like sounding like they're both constantly going off all the time. I do think that there's good like space between the vocal lines, which I think is good. I heard some stuff that was a little rhythmically kind of sloppy with the instrumentation. I feel like just felt a little off rhythm. In Loose, maybe it wasn't recorded with a click. Not that it has to be, but even if it isn't, it's got to feel like you can't have stuff that kind of jars you out of it a little bit. I feel like the other thing I wanted to say, there was some like mouth, and I think this is the thing that can kind of become prominent and kind of noticeable when you have the vocal so hot in the mix, is you hear like kind of these little like kind of mouth sounds. They can kind of be noticeable a little more. So there was some like maybe some cleaning up with the vocal audio, or maybe it's just not so hot, and having some other instruments kind of draw a little bit of attention away from the vocal, so you don't hear these little kind of minute things that really don't impact the emotion of the track at all. They just kind of like, oh, I kind of hear this kind of weird noise. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I think it's the singer's got a beautiful voice, and I feel like there's quite a few things I liked about it, but there's also like, I think it goes back to, it's like, what's the modern touch, what's the modern spin that puts it in the ballpark of stuff that gets used a lot. I think that's we keep going back to this, and granted, it's like you got to be compassionate with some of this too, because it's like this was produced in, like, it looks like it was released in 2014, so much can change in 5 years in the music industry. So it was just like, just study up on what's changed in the genre that you're working in, if you still want to work in that genre. And I think there's a ton of good resources out there in terms of places to find, including like on Spotify, just looking up their modern folk music playlists. I guarantee if you listen to that for a couple hours, you'll hear all the differences between this track and the stuff that's like not only popular for artist stuff, but tends to be like pretty popular for like just what they're looking for in terms of Americana and folk in placements. So hopefully that helps. All right. So next up we got Tony Serzo. And give me just a second here. Tony's up next. This song is called My Own Hero. It looks like this was freshly recorded. So
yeah, we just did this one. This has Lucy Lee is the vocalist on this.
Oh, cool.
And Wani's a co-writer.
Great. I'll give it a spin here. Looking forward to it.
It's a rough mix. It's not intended to be finished. Just looking for some feedback.
Sure, you got it. So this is like a rough mix, or is this? Are you in the mix phase on it, or are you still producing?
Yeah. I'm in the mix phase, but I'm open to suggestions on ways I could modernize it. It's a nice song. It's a nice track. I think it's gone in a good direction, but I worry that it's going to come back dated.
Well, let's give it a listen first before going down that road. Here we go.
I look into the morning sun. It makes me feel alive. I fill up my inner light. I didn't say that I'm not scared, but I keep marching on to my inner drum. Can't you see I'm growing strong? You can never hold me down. I'll be my own hero. I'll find my higher power. I'll be my own hero. No more standing in the shadow. Don't you know under the sun my own never will surrender. I'll be my own hero.
Yeah, so I definitely get like with the guitar stuff, I get kind of like almost like a U2 kind of vibe with some of the guitar stuff. Thematically, the song feels like it's on target in terms of being heroic and about finding that within yourself. You know, could potentially be a good angle for you know, in terms of like a hero kind of angle. I like the dynamics of the track. I feel like it does a nice job of going somewhere and then kind of bringing things back down. It's like I've talked about all day about just like having track dynamics. This is an important thing to have in your songs. As far as the things, as far the guitar sound in general felt a little on the dated side to me. Just that maybe the distortion that's being used. And perhaps the style of the playing, it feels a little, the track vibe overall feels a little kind of almost like prog a little bit, just a hair, to me.
I think of it as kind of an Evanescence kind of a sound.
Yeah, which Evanescence borrows a lot from prog.
Yeah.
But once again, Evanescence is also like, we're talking about a pretty, even referencing Evanescence from when they were like super popular, it's quite a bit of time ago.
Right. That's why I said that's my concern, is that it's fun that it went in this direction and it sounds good, but will it get synced? You know, is anybody going to want to pick this up?
I feel that, you know, with this direction, I feel like it's going to potentially be an uphill battle because, you know, if they want something that sounds like Evanescence, they might pick something that's actually from that era.
Right.
The thing with that, if it's got that kind of same vibe, and they're looking for something that's like period, but in that same vibe, they probably want something.
It wasn't really the intent.
Yeah.
It wasn't our intent to do something period. It just sort of.
Oh, of course not. Well, you know, I don't say that like, I don't say that with any like. I'm not saying to like offend you in any way.
No, you're not. Because at the time I'm playing, it's like, you know, yeah, this sounds great, but.
Well, I think, Tony, here's one thing that this all brings up to me. A lot of times we know. We kind of know, and I think like you knew kind of like, because you were kind of front loading me listening to it with, you know, I kind of feel like you're going to say that it's dated. It's like, if you kind of are thinking that, then it might be a sign that, you know, that it could be something like in terms of like the direction of the production, you know, I this as far as like our own creative compasses, we really got to learn to trust this kind of stuff. And I think like as you keep learning to produce and you keep learning to write and everything like that, you're going to get better and better at kind of like seeing this like as it's happening. I know that that's been the case for me, where like I might be making something and I'm like, you kind of don't know until after the fact. And then you're like, oh, well, I did all this stuff and it kind of sounds like, you know, if I were to redo this now, I would maybe, you know, take it in a different direction.
Sure.
Yeah. I just felt like a couple other things, a couple of the quick points. I felt like the vocal top line in particular was really busy. So like I was talking about, I've been talking about like all day, is like it's really important for there to be a good balance between like the top line and the track. And I feel like the vocalist is just like, it feels like there's something being sung almost every waking moment of the track, which doesn't give like, it's not the give or take that you want to have as far as a relationship with the listener. I feel like if you try to throw stuff constantly at them, it's just hard to process and take it all in and have the kind of the space as well, like from like a dynamics perspective. I think that actually like it kind of works counter to the dynamics that you have set up in the track, which are great. I like the builds that you're doing here and the attempts with all that. It's just that was one thing that I did want to comment on. There were some slight timing issues on some in a few moments in the track. I don't remember exactly where it was.
In the vocals or in the instruments?
The instruments. I heard like a couple times when it was like a drum thing or something like that, where I was like, oh, that felt a little off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a fill sample in there that I know is a little off.
It can be tricky. The trick thing with fills, if you're just bringing them into kind of your own programmed drums, there's just like kind of a, if you're not a natural drummer, you gotta like it's just, you have to like spend extra time and attention. I'm not a natural drummer, so it's like when I do fills and things like that, I'm always like, it's always like one of the most challenging parts of productions for me sometimes is making them sound natural. And
you know, the fill is from a loop library, so it's actually Mick Fleetwood. But for some reason, the one that I picked just doesn't, timing wise, it's not off. It's just, it doesn't fit the track right. And
Well,
I've heard it a couple of times. Like, you need to go in there, change it.
It's just like the pocket that the drummer is. You got to remember when they're doing fills, they don't have any of your context at all when they're doing fill. So anything that's in a library, they're just like, play this cool fill, or just do your thing, come up with some stuff, and then I don't know exactly how those sessions go, but I imagine it's part like them just winging it and part them like really specific stuff.
Well, I'm producing in Ableton Live now, so there's this tendency to go, I could just drop audio in and it automatically, locks to the grid. But anyway, yeah, I heard that too. The vocals, I'm still working on. Like that's what I meant when I said it's a rough mix.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can hear little timing things in the vocals, and I have Vocal Line, and I'll be using that to line things up and all of that. But anyway, thank you.
I heard some of that as well, but yeah, it was more prominent to me that there were a couple instrumental moments where I was like, oh, that felt that it was definitely like out of the pocket and jarring to me. So just
okay.
Real quick, this is Lucy. I'm just popping in really quick. I just had a couple questions regarding the track.
Sure.
On if you think this is a type of song that we should like totally start over from the top, and is it worth redoing? Because I think there's some strong stuff in the song, and I agree with what you're saying, but I was curious if you feel that this is worth reworking and maybe bringing some other players in possibly to help us get the sound, the modern sound, whatever we need.
I think the way the song's written, it kind of feels like it could be like kind of that Evanescence kind of inspiration with it. So I guess it's like the challenge is finding like a if you were to kind of redo some of the stuff, I would definitely like reinvestigate the top line a little bit, maybe simplify it a little more, and then but then yeah, I mean really it's like a good song can be like reskinned any number of different ways. So it's really like it's only your imagination as far as like the directions you could go with it. I feel like if you're going to go back, you should just do some research on references that, and I'll do this sometimes where I'm, if I have like a top line, it's like a mental game. You have to play with yourself while you're doing it, because singing your song over a song that's like in the wrong key and like somebody else is singing, I'll literally just go through like references of stuff that it's hot and I know people are looking for, and I'll just start singing my own top line over whatever's going on. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what, logically, I think this will really work. It's not the right key, obviously. We're not going to borrow their complete production style, but I've definitely found like ways to take something I'm working on. I'm not exactly sure what production style I want to go with it. That might be an interesting thing to do, is just do some more research on references if you decide to go back and redo things. But I feel like I was saying earlier, I feel like the direction is probably one that you're going to have an uphill climb marketing, because it feels like it's a little of that Evanescence kind of vibe. That's just my 2 cents on it, though.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Always, yeah. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm gonna. You know what? It's 3:30, but I'm gonna play one more just because I wanna get through as many songs as I can. And this has been fun. This is the first like extended listening session that we've really done at Catch the Moon, and we're gonna be doing this every single week moving forward. So it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna figure out ways to keep. Oh, by the way, I'm just gonna like mute everybody here. Sorry to everybody, but I got to do that. All right. yeah, it's going to be fun over these next few weeks to keep dialing this in and, just getting a good process going with all this. But I just want to say like how much I appreciate all the talent and effort and time that's gone into the creation of these songs. And yeah, it's really cool. Like there's been a couple of times today where I'm like, that's actually really close to being on target, or it is on target. So, it's just like, and keep the people who, you're also, the thing that's really cool about this whole process when we're sharing the songs is you get to hear like the different aspects of people's creative ability. And you might hear something in something that's being shared that you're like, oh, that's somebody I might like to work with on something. So, and that's also like a huge intention with this course in general is we want you teaming up. We want you working on stuff together. We want you all learning together. And so take this as an opportunity, not only to learn about your own craft, but also to learn through what other people have done and also see the opportunities potentially to collaborate with each other. Cause that's what it's all about. At least it is for me. All right. Last one up. We got Ben Drysdale. All right, so this up and we'll have it ready here in just a second.
The object of these tears has disappeared into her fears, but I wouldn't trade a minute for the sun. So I tilt my bottle high as the hail rains from the sky, and I'll keep it up there till it's done. We knew that this day would be coming our way, and I'm glad it was put off till now. 'Cause the road we took has shown us more than we could ever know, and gives hope for the future somehow. Go now, 'cause this path just ain't ready to pave. And despite what we've lost, you can be sure that the cost won't amount to the things that we'll say. And here now, these wounds aren't the worst I've endured. So just know and be assured that these cuts you see before you sting less than the ones that you cured. They sting less than what you already cured. Lights up as I stare at this cup, not quite sure if it's full or empty. If it's just go now, 'cause this path just ain't ready to pay. And despite what we've lost, you can be sure that the cost won't amount to the things that we'll say. And here now, these wounds are the worst. The object of these tears disappeared into our fears, but I wouldn't trade a minute for the sun. So I too.
All right, so there was some stuff there that felt pretty special to me. I really love the vocalist here. The main vocalist is it just has like a phenomenal timbre and emotion, and just also like the vocal pacing for the most part is really spot on. I felt like it got a little busy towards the end. It's okay to have like dynamic with that as well. Like there's a trick to that. Like if you deliver the vocal like kind of a little more methodically early on, you can build it up to points where like to build tension in the song, you can either accelerate the delivery of the vocal and kind of make it a busier line here and there, just to give it like a a build in a way. I just think the vocal sounds amazing. Love the vocalist. I think the lyrics are really good. I feel like this is like certainly like a indie singer-songwriter type song. A song like this could get, just as far as like the songwriting, a song like this could get used in like a TV show for sure. I feel like in the live strings, really nice touch. I love live strings. It's just cello's one of my favorite instruments. It's great to get this. Sorry, I'm distracted. I need to stop looking at the chat box. I was gonna say just live strings are just such a nice touch when they're recorded well. Loved the parts. The parts were cool. There was a really cool part like later on in the song was like a little orchestrated thing that was like, oh, that's really cool. As far as like there's some stuff that I feel like production wise, I feel like production's pretty good. But I feel like mix wise, there's some things that felt a little off to me. Just in terms of like, it was hard for me to know like what the center of attention was at times. I think in terms like the mix felt a little unfocused. When to me, like a song like this, when you have a phenomenal vocalist like this, you want the kind of the center of attention to be the vocalist, and then everything kind of like serves the delivery of the vocal. But I felt in times it was a little scattered, the approach. Perhaps a couple of the things with the just production choices and the arrangement of it, but I think more often than not, it was the mix that was a little, felt a little like it was distracting to me. And then some of the background vocals I didn't really much care for. I didn't feel like they really added to the moment. It felt like they were also kind of a little out of sync. That was probably my least favorite part of the song was the background vocals. And then, yeah, the acoustic guitar was a little bit, because there's like so much that's like exposed in this song. You kind of hear like every little nuance with the instruments. It's okay for it to be, for things to be a little bit off, because it's like, it's a stringed instrument. People are just like real human beings are playing them. And I'm not an advocate for getting everything perfect and take all the humanity out of things, but I felt like it was maybe a hair out of what I would consider the acceptable threshold for, as far as like just kind of general timing and performance. Maybe would have wanted a little bit tighter performances on some of the acoustic instruments. Yeah, that's pretty much my feedback on it. I think like as a song, the songwriting on it's good. I feel like you could definitely, if you were to reapproach the song and reproduce it, with like maybe just like, again, just look at the play through, get on Spotify, play some of the modern Americana folk playlists. I think if you listen to like 100 songs on there, it'll give you like some ideas as to how you can really make a song like this shine, and then find a producer that can really deliver this and give you like a really nice mix on it. But I think like if you're wondering the answer to this question, I feel like a song like this would be worth investing into having done, right. It's a good song. I feel like a song like this could have a chance. And yeah, just maybe you could also, like, if you do redo it, you could reinvestigate everything. You could take a look at your top line, see if there's any way you can. I think anytime I'm considering like reproducing something, I'm thinking about, well, how can I be a little leaner? How can I be a little, it's just an opportunity to creatively you don't want to just totally overwrite everything that you've done before, but it's like, can I be even more efficient in what I'm doing? Is there a way that I can shorten this line? I think like with everything that we're all constantly learning about this stuff, I think you might look at the song with like just a little bit different perspective, and there might be a couple ways you can tighten it up, but I'd certainly be super interested in giving it a listen if you redid this song.
Thanks so much, man.
I love the vocals. Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love your vocals, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta
so we're ending things here. It's like 10 after, but it's all good. Like I'm gonna go to bed and drink lots of tea and go to sleep, and hopefully everybody is not sick like I am, and next week it won't be like this, but But hey, I think we've made the most of this. Hopefully, nobody noticed me coughing like too much, and I'm really looking forward to our calls next week. But until next time, it's been fun. All right, we'll definitely be posting a replay of this. We're just like with everything, we'll be replaying everything. So if you didn't miss it, just in the future, if you have to miss one of these, you'll always be able to catch it later. All right, peace out. Catch you later.